Now fiancé says our relationship might not survive. I, F21, live with my fiancé, M24, and we've been together for 3 years now. His mom and little sister visit our town a few times a year, and after his older sister moved away they have been staying with us. So 2 months ago we found out I was pregnant, and my fiancé invited his mother and sister to visit us in a month, though the days weren't set. So 3 days before they were supposed to arrive we found out I had a blighted ovum, and I was devastated. My mother-in-law found out and asked my fiancé if they should postpone their visit, but my fiancé told them to come anyway without asking me. I had to take medicine to empty my uterus, and a day before their arrival I was given the first pill at the hospital. The day after their arrival, today, I started the actual miscarriage process. I didn't want to go through that in front of them, so I stayed at my mom's, empty, house with my aunt through the roughest hours. I was in extreme pain and bleeding heavily. After things calmed down a bit, I came home. I was laying on the sofa when they came back home from their shopping trip, and I quietly said hi, but I was completely drained. They didn't really talk to me or ask how I was. Later, when my fiancé came back from work, he asked me to move to the bedroom since I made his family feel a bit uncomfortable with my quiet presence and I was taking a lot of space from the sofa. I felt like a burden and cried a bit when I moved to the bedroom. He laid down with me for a bit and told me he was stressed cause he was feeling torn between me and his family. I told him I really needed him right now, but I ended up feeling guilty and sent him to spend time with his family. So here is where I might be in a hole. Like I said, these guests rarely visit us, and their visit is really important to my fiancé. Last time they visited, my OCD was acting up because I was having a lot of anxiety during that time. It made them leave early. So this time I promised my fiancé that I would relax and communicate with them more and keep the OCD in check. That OCD part I have nailed this time. So I have mostly stayed in the bedroom or quietly eaten in the living room. I have done everything to not to bother them and tried to be invisible. I haven't had the energy to make small talk. I thought they would understand. My fiancé and I talked later and agreed we might do something together tomorrow if I felt better. He also asked me politely to interact with his family. While he was at the gym, I still wasn't able to be social. When he got back and found out, he was angry. He told me I should go back to my mom's if I wasn't going to engage, and said our relationship won't work if I can't get along with his family. I tried explaining how hard things are for me right now, and that I'm doing my best just letting them stay with us during this time. He didn't take it well. I am sad and confused now. Comment 1. Sweetheart, you lost your child, and it looks like it was a child you were dearly looking forward to. You are allowed to grieve. So you are definitely NTA for not putting on a fake happy face for his family. That said, you have a real fiancé problem. He minimizes your feelings, steamrolls over your boundaries, and picks his family over you. If it were me, I would be taking a good long look at the fact that as you no longer have this tie with him, perhaps it would be best in the long run for you to exit this relationship. Because he has red flag written all over him. Comment 2. His lack of concern for you is not okay. You went through a physically and emotionally painful miscarriage, and at this time, when you needed him to advocate for you and comfort you, he instead, A, let people come into your space, and then, B, made you feel bad that you weren't a happy hostess? What the hell? Is that really the kind of partner you want? The kind you think you deserve? NTA. And I'm really sorry you're going through this. Comment 3. NTA. Go back to your mom. And break up with this guy. He doesn't care for you. Let him be alone with his family and you take some time off dating. Short story 2, an interesting story. I, 23M, was on a call with my girlfriend, 22F. She was talking about how she feels guilty that her parents have been providing for her financially. I get where she's coming from. We both come from poor families, but they're amazing in their own ways. I love how her parents and siblings are all supportive of her education, especially her sisters. Both of her parents are retired, and her older sister is the one supporting her financially. It's not an easy thing to sacrifice your early adult life for your siblings' future, and I truly respect that. I've also supported her financially ever since I migrated to the US. She always says no, but there have been times when money was urgently needed. Anyway, she said she feels guilty and can't even feel happy about her graduation because she thinks it's the only bare minimum she finished. She also has more on her mind, like review centers and passing the board exam. I listened, comforted her, and tried to console her by saying, "It's okay." Then she suddenly snapped at me and said, "It's not appropriate to just say it's okay when it's not. I meant that it's okay to feel the way she does and all." Another time, she told me she was feeling pressured about the board exams. I said something like, "Think of the past problems you've had. At the time, they seemed big and heavy, but looking back, they've become non-existent, something that you can pat yourself at the back when looking back, and this problem might feel the same way in the future." She told me that it wasn't helpful. I tried explaining what I meant, but she told me to stop because it added pressure. Then she explained how we have different coping mechanisms, and what works for me doesn't necessarily work for her. I completely agree with that, and I apologized. But we've had many arguments about things that I should have said, as if there's a pre-written script I'm supposed to hit, and if I don't say exactly what she wants to hear, it turns into a problem. What upsets me the most was when she said, "Stop worrying about my problems because they're not yours anyway." That really hurt. After 5 years together, you're telling me not to worry about something that clearly affects you, which I care deeply about. I felt so offended and left out. I've always tried to be there for her, to comfort and support her, to make sure she feels seen and heard. But every time I try, it feels like she just rejects it. I was so done, and I dropped the call. Share your words below, please. Comment 1. I'd say you're both valid in how you feel and probably just need to have a conversation about your communication styles and what it is that you're looking for when talking to each other. Maybe she just wants to vent instead of get advice or be comforted. That said, I get where you're coming from, especially with the last statement. If she doesn't want you to worry about her problems, then she should just stop talking about them altogether. This is not the right answer and obviously not the healthy thing to do, but it's just interesting the things that people say versus the things they do. Comment 2. This is great advice and I agree. Graduations can be super stressful and she is slightly taking it out on you, but if both of you are willing to work on communication styles and finding a balance between the two of you, you can make significant changes. No one is perfect and you will still have times when your communication may break down, but if you do the work you will see change. Both of you have to commit to it. Best of luck, OP. Comment 3. NTA. You're trying your best to be there for her, and it sucks to feel like nothing you say is ever good enough. She's clearly under stress, but that doesn't mean you deserve to be treated like your support isn't wanted. Your feelings are valid. Being in a relationship means caring about each other's problems. Story 3. My sister and I had a falling out, and my husband and I want to know if we should apologize or just move on. I've been running a business for quite a few years now, and it was small, but I never really tried to make it anything big. I was content just getting by at doing something I enjoyed. Eventually I started dating someone who had the time, energy, and resources to start helping me grow. He rebranded my business, and it grew. It was fun, and eventually I got my partner more involved. He went to a trade show with me, and we got an idea together to grow the biz more. My BF had a great idea to include my sister and her spouse because we thought it would benefit them financially and bring us closer together. Big mistake. Even though my BF and I each invested about 50% into the expansion and my sister and her Shah husband invested nothing, it wasn't long before they started telling everyone it was their business. I would talk to people who would tell me they talked to the owners, which was funny to me because it was actually my BF and I who risked everything financially to purchase the expansion and grow it. We just invited them to come along for free, and we even gave my brother-in-law a job because he had been unemployed for years. It went downhill from there. My BF and I aren't big on attention, so we didn't really care that people thought my sis and brother-in-law owned the business, but then they started giving their friends huge discounts, sometimes free, and doing it without our consent. On top of all that, my BF and I found out that my dad, who handled accounting, was paying my brother-in-law double what we discussed for working for our company. All of this was without our knowledge. Meanwhile, my BF declined to take a salary for all of the work he was doing for what was now our business, even after he had invested his own personal money into it. I got upset enough and tried talking to my sister, and my BF tried talking to my Bill, but things quickly fell apart. My brother-in-law started telling my BF he wasn't going to do parts of the job, so my BF and I took on all the work while brother-in-law was making a double salary, and my BF was taking nothing. I didn't even increase my salary while we were trying to grow. We realized maybe inviting them to join us was a mistake, but we truly had the best of intentions. We tried to find ways to talk to them, but they got passive-aggressive, and recently my BF finally told brother-in-law to go F yourself. Anyway, he said that he would, and now they're no longer working for us. My parents have sided with my sis and Bill, but they haven't heard our side. This whole situation hurts because my sister has always been my BFF, but I can't figure out what we did. We have asked, but at this point they're only rallying the troops against us. I've tried talking to my sis, who won't respond. I want to protect my partner, and I think he was justified after having dealt with my brother-in-law's bad attitude for weeks. If we did something wrong, I want to apologize. Comment 1: Get your priorities straight. Don't worry about siding with your BF, that's the wrong question. Worry about the fact your sister and brother-in-law screwed you, and BF. Why didn't you do anything when your dad paid brother-in-law double salary? That's throwing away your own money and security. Stop being a doormat and protect yourself and your BF. Comment 2. NTA, and why aren't you pissed at your dad for taking your money and paying brother-in-law double? I think it's time to go through everything your dad has been in charge of. Comment 3. Stop talking about trying to figure out what you did wrong to apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. Your sister and brother-in-law are a-holes. Maybe your sis used to be your BFF, but she is 100% with her husband now, and he will take advantage of you and your BF every chance he gets. Cut them the duck off already. Why is your dad involved when it's your business? Why is he paying your brother-in-law double salary? This whole thing is making me furious on your behalf. NTA, Story 4, one of my favorite story today. This happened a week ago and I have no remorse, but my in-laws are still upset over it. My sister-in-law's birthday was last week. I spent the day making it special for her, driving her around to her favorite stores and spots around town until eventually her friends had a surprise birthday party for her that was our last stop. She had way too much to drink and I had to drag her out of the party when her mom called me multiple times to get home to pick up our kids. It took me an hour and her friends kept booing me, but eventually we were on our way home, but she kept demanding I take her to other friends' houses the whole time. I said no, it's 8:30 p.m. and we need to pick up our kids. She was upset at me but ended up passing out anyway. We got to my mother-in-law's house to pick up the kids, and while I was in the bathroom, I heard my mother-in-law talking to my sister-in-law's sons and telling them that they can have cake at my house. They were going to stay the night at my house so my sister-in-law can have a peaceful night. I was already so frustrated and tired, and when I heard that, I was done. I walked out and helped everyone get ready. My mother-in-law was handing me the cake and asked, "Oh, can you take this?" I just looked at her and said no, and walked away. The boys all pouted and the older one started crying. I just didn't care. I got them all packed up and told them that it's bedtime and we aren't having sugar, but we can have cake tomorrow. The older one bawled again and had a fit the whole way home. The next day, I brought them over, all the kids had cake, everything was fine. But my sister-in-law and mother-in-law think I overreacted, that I was being horrible and mean to the boys. I wanted to tell them so bad that saying no is not a bad thing, but I just kept my mouth shut. It's been a week and they are still bothered by it. Please share your thoughts before go. Comment 1. It appears I will be going against the popular choice and say NTA. Why didn't mother-in-law serve them cake? Kids staying at your house, your choice on if they have cake at your house. They got cake in the morning. Maybe grandma should have given it to them instead of trying to send it with you. Comment 2. NTA. It was bedtime, not cake time. Grandma could have given the boys cake earlier if they needed to have cake that day, otherwise they had cake the next day and their lives went on. I cannot believe that a week later that anybody cares. Especially not your sister-in-law who needs to get her drinking under control before whining about some cake. Comment 3. I'm gonna be honest with you, yeah, YTA. I understand your frustration, but it's not really the kids' fault, you know? You could have just let them have the cake and deal with it later with sister-in-law and mother-in-law if you wanted to get the point across. But the kids? They just want some dang cake. Take care of yourself. Come again, please.